Yes, you guys, great to see you again. And thank you to everyone that commented in yesterday's match review. Great response, and it's great to see how many people are so supportive of the team and how so many people are feeling confident about this season. Now, of course, I'm bringing you guys the player ratings video because some of the performances we saw last night, it's only deserving that these players get fairly analysed and get given a rating. However, before I do any of that, today's video is brought to you by the OneFootball app. Download the OneFootball app this season to stay up to date to all the latest news happening around the club. Convenient, quick, that's the OneFootball app for you. If you guys want this, you will find it in the link in the description below. One more quick thing, if you do like today's video, smash that like button. Help me get more than 1,500 likes for today's video. Now, getting straight into things, starting with Kepa in goal, and wow. What an eventful performance from Kepa. The save he made, that double save. One of the best saves I've ever seen. I know it sounds very hyperbolic, but when you consider the moment in the game, when you consider how pivotal it was, that save needed to be made. And Kepa was quick, Kepa was acrobatic, and it really was an outstanding save. So credit to him. And throughout the game, he was commanding, his presence was there, and he made some very good shots. However, his marks will be affected because for me personally, after watching the shootout so many times, I think that Kepa should have done better with those two saves. When you consider that it was down the left-hand side, he dived in the right occasion twice, but he didn't dive with the right technique. He was too high, he didn't dive low enough, and I think Kepa would say this himself, but he knows deep down that they were saves. They were saves, and he wasn't able to perform them. And because of that, I know Tammy missed the penalty, but they were the key things, because if he makes that save, the advantage is with us. I think it's safe to assume that we could have got something favourable. So the final score I'm going to give Kepa is a 7.5. Now moving on to the back four, starting with Kurt Zouma on the left hand side, and Kurt Zouma was quietly good. Now he will score lower marks because for Liverpool's second goal, he did play Mane onside. I sympathise because, you need time to get that defensive line on point. When you look at Liverpool last night, their defensive line was on point because it's taken so long to perfect. And that's why they were constantly able to play us offside time and time again. It's going to take us a while to get to that type of level, but leaving that to the side, Zouma was good defensively, made key blocks time and time again, was strong aerially, and made some very good 50-50 tackles, but still, he'll lose some more marks because another weakness was him attacking set plays. For a guy with an amazing leap like Zouma, he should be scoring way more goals from those opportunities, and too often he's missing the target. So for that reason, I'm going to be scoring Zouma a 6.5 out of 10. Moving on to Christensen, and one thing I'm going to give him credit for is how brave of a defender he's become. Now in every game now, Christensen is getting knocked to the floor and getting battered, but he's not fazed by that. And he's still willing to put up a fight. And I think that as he gets older, as his body progresses, it's going to do him a ton of favour. But still, I thought defensively good, very good with his passing out from the back as well. The partnership between him and Zouma was much better. And it's quite clear that with more time that these guys play together, I think they may develop a decent understanding. In yesterday's game, I'm going to score Christensen a 6.5 out of 10. Moving on to Azpilicueta, and Azpi, listen, he struggled at times. We know that this system doesn't complement him the best because he doesn't have the necessary skill set to fully do this position justice. However, I'm not going to fault him for his application and his work rate. With Azpi, that's the bare minimum you're going to get for the player. However, from a technical aspect, the crosses weren't as effective. A few times he lost his man as well. And he doesn't look like the same Azpi from a few seasons ago. For that reason, I'm going to score Azpi a 6 out of 10. And to end the back four, moving on to Emerson. And for me, the most impressive defender on the night. The guy stepped up a ton. Now, for you guys that saw my 4 talking points video after that win against Man United, you will know that I'm in very high praise of Emerson, and it's deserved. I think that we're going to see his Roma form this season. I feel that his body's right, he feels good, he looks confident, and he's playing in a system that gets the best out of his attacking instincts. I mean, the guy ran for days, he competed very well against Salah, some great interceptions, great defending when it came to, getting those headers in the far post and the near post. Offensively very good, was constantly an option. He will lose a few marks though, because I think that some of his end products in the final third should have been much better. Now, yeah, I understand that in extra time he was tired and naturally you are going to make more mistakes, but even before, I want to see much more end product from Emerson. But I feel confident that that's going to come soon and it's going to be consistent. For that reason, I'm going to score Emerson a 7 out of 10. Moving on to the midfield, starting with Jorginho. What a performance. I'm still getting goosebumps from that intensity when he took that penalty. I mean, his eyes were stone cold. That confidence. It was a great iconic moment for me. Yesterday, he was a leader on the field, demanded the ball, helped start attacks, played the most through balls in yesterday's game, and you can tell that in a system with a lot more movement, Jorginho is going to have a lot more fun. For that reason, I'm going to score Jorginho an 8 out of 10. Moving on to the young Luka himself, Kovacic, and wow, this guy really has proven to be an astute signing. I see Luka Modric in him every single day, playing in the role he does now. Is getting the best out of him. The ability he has to resist the press. I mean, he's so inventive. The close control and first touch is so on point. Time and time again, he was able to use his skills to break the midfield lines from Liverpool, attack the space as well, and was a constant outlet for those midfield rotations out wide on the left. And they were key in allowing Emerson and Pulisic to force back the Liverpool fullbacks. And for that reason, I'm going to score Kova a 7 out of 10. To end things with the king himself, N'Golo Kante, one of the most standout performances we've seen from him in our shirt. Incredible performance, and the way that he just dramatically improved that midfield when he came on is incredible. And honestly, it was a 2-hour masterclass from Kante. He led, he commanded, he was unplayable, he was fantastic offensively as well. And he really proved yesterday why Kante is one of the very best players on this planet. I'm going to score Kante a 9 out of 10. Moving on to the front three, starting with Pedro. And, this is the style of performance and the type of performance that I want to see from Pedro. He worked his socks off. He led as an example for the team. But offensively, there was so much quality in what he did on the ball. And that's what I care about. I like application, but I care more about end products. And we were seeing that from Pedro. I mean, very unlucky to hit the crossbar. But again, he was so inventive. His timing of his runs were incredible. Constantly making the right runs at every single time. And, his invention and skill, it was on point. And if only Pedro was younger, maybe we see more of these performances from him on a much more consistent basis. But still, we can't discredit him. He was a standout yesterday. And for that reason, I'm going to score Pedro a 7.5 out of 10. Now, moving on to the American boy wonder himself, Christian Pulisic. And what an impressive game last night. Wow, I mean, he really made the whole fan base take notice of his abilities. Was a constant thorn in that Liverpool side. The way he plays the game. He plays the game at such a high speed, and, his decision making is really impressive. Very impressive for a 20-year-old that plays the game at this pace. You can see that Hazard-like ability from him. He has the ability to play as a playmaker. We saw great inventive passing from him, but he's a lot more direct and a lot more quicker. He's going to be very exciting to see this season. Him and Hudson-Odoi could be quite fun to watch, and for that reason, for the performance he put in for the first 70 minutes, I'm going to score Christian Pulisic an 8 out of 10. He would have scored more if his goal wasn't disallowed, and what an impressive, incredible goal that was. Big things are going to come from Christian this season. And to end things with the first team lineup, Olivier Giroud, he was very good as well. He justified why Lampard did start him, and was quite clear why he played. Lampard used him because he's an outlet to play out from the back. A lot of times when Liverpool are pressing us, we do need to hit the ball long. And Giroud was that constant outlet. He battled very well against Liverpool centre-backs, but what really impressed me was his movement in behind. I mean, the first goal he scored, it was deserved because he was making that same type of run time and time again. Great finish. And Giroud, I apologise. When we first signed him, I wasn't feeling it, but when you see what he provides to the team, he really was an astute signing. Yesterday he was great. And for that reason, I'm going to score him a 7.5 out of 10. Now, to end things with the subs, starting with Tomori. And this was impressive because Tomori came on. And normally when you're a defender coming into a game, you need a bit of time to get a feel for things. Tomori didn't have that, and literally in the first minute he came on, he did this impressive thing where he came on and immediately played Mane offside. Now this was impressive because he barely had any time to get a feel for the game, and it showed you just how much he concentrates and how he sees the game, and from then on, you would have thought that the guy started for us this entire time. Looks so composed, looks so confident, and this is the Frank Lampard effect. A great, promising performance from Tomori. I'm going to give Tomori a score of 7 out of 10. Moving on to Mason Mount himself, and when he came on, as Lampard said, he helped turn the game in our favour. And that's because of his ability to hold the ball up in the final third on the left-hand side, allowing runners to get in the game, allowing the fullbacks and the midfield to advance as well. He stretched Liverpool's back line time and time again, intelligent movement, and the confidence to test the goalkeeper. The amount of times he did was so unfortunate not to get a goal, because with his performance he deserved it, and it's so exciting to see just how flexible the guy is. I really compare him to De Bruyne for a reason, and honestly his impact was the same as Pulisic's for me. And for that reason, I'm going to give Mason Mount a score of 8 out of 10. Moving on to Tammy Abraham. Now I know that people are going to focus on his miss in the shootout. Hopefully they don't, because his overall performance was extremely promising. Now of course he couldn't physically compete up against Van Dijk, but that didn't mean that he didn't try. His effort and his application was there, and he used his strengths in very intelligent ways, and he did that by using his great movement off the ball, constantly getting in behind, stretching Liverpool's defensive line, getting in key attacking areas, and I think that once the team understands his runs even more, he is going to get goals, and compared to his performance against Man United, this was an even bigger step up. His hold-up play was great, his movement was good, and he led the front line very well. I know he missed the pen, and he will lose some marks for that, but his performance was very promising, and on that note, I'm going to score Tammy a 6.5 out of 10. Moving on to Ross Barkley, and with Barkley, he didn't have as much time, and of course, he did one annoying thing where in a 1v1 situation, he wasn't able to make the pass to Tammy, but regardless of that, application was there. I thought he held the ball very well, brought people in, and he looked confident when he played, and that's the most important thing. This score doesn't really matter. I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10, but come on, he didn't have too many minutes to really fairly analyse him, and I think a 6 out of 10 is the base score to give players. And to end things with Super Frank himself, listen, he's getting a score of 9 out of 10, and that's because he tactically masterminded Jurgen Klopp. The game plan was on point. We forced Liverpool to have to react to us. They did that in the second half, and we still found solutions. What impressed me the most was that Lampard understood the feel for the game, making the right subs at the right time every single time, and this allowed us to keep our intensity up throughout the entire game. The guy is a tactician. He's a great manager, and yesterday he showcased that. And as I said, you guys, Lampard does deserve the score of 9 out of 10. And on that note, you guys, I'm going to wrap things up and keep things moving. Thank you for watching. In the comments below, give me your scores for players. Do you agree with me? If not, let me know. Thank you for watching. I'm Nini FC. This is Blue Lions TV. See you guys later.